Dark space was silent, but signals moved across it like whispers. For months, strange voices had crossed human radio bands. At first it was only static. Then, a shape in the noise. A code. A message. The scientists in low-orbit stations worked day and night, trying to break it. When they finally did, they wished they had never tried. The message was not a greeting. It was a command. It said, in clear words, "Kneel. Give us your world. Submit or burn." It was repeated again and again, in hundreds of languages no one had ever seen before. The Earth's networks froze. Governments argued. Fear moved like a wave through every city. Above the dark side of the moon, a giant shape waited. It had come without a flash or warning. It was not like any ship humans had built. Its surface moved like water but stayed solid. Its engines made no fire. No telescope could read its full size. People on Earth called it the Black Spear, because that was all they could see in the sky, a shadow like a spearhead pointing at the planet. In the middle of this chaos was a small listening post in northern Canada. Snow fell hard on its roof. Inside, a young technician named Rayhan sat alone, headphones on. He was one of the first who had caught the alien voice. He had not slept in 2 days. His hands shook as he typed, but he kept listening. There was something new in the signal tonight. A small pulse, hidden under the command. He played it again and again. It was faint, like a heartbeat. It did not sound like the voice of the aliens. It sounded human. Far above him, on the orbital platform Unity, generals from the major powers had gathered. They watched the Black Spear in silence. The alien ship had not fired yet. It only sent its message. Every hour, the same words. Submit. Kneel. Burn. It had disabled 3 satellites already, not by shooting them, but by something no one understood. Their circuits just went dead. The generals wanted to strike first. The scientists begged them not to. The politicians sent secret messages to one another. No one trusted anyone. But deep inside the Earth's networks, something was already moving. It was not a government plan. It was not an army. It was a signal. A call. A plea. Rayhan followed the hidden pulse. He traced it through the noise, through the layers of alien code. His screen filled with numbers. His heart raced. Then words appeared. Help us. They took our home. We are still here. Rayhan stared. His mouth went dry. This was not just a threat from space. There were others. Maybe prisoners. Maybe survivors. Maybe allies. But the message was weak. It was fading. He pressed record and sent it to the Unity platform. Then he tried to answer. Who are you? He whispered. Where are you? He did not know if they could hear him. On the Unity platform, the message arrived at the same time as a new movement from the Black Spear. The alien ship changed shape. Its shadow spread across the Earth's night side. Thousands of small objects separated from it, like black snow. They began to fall toward the planet, silent, fast, impossible to track. The warning lights turned red in every command center. The generals shouted orders. Fighters launched from hidden bases. But no one knew what the black snow was. No one had ever seen such weapons. In the Canadian snow, Rayhan's headphones went dead. The hidden voice cut out. The command returned, louder than before. Submit or burn. Kneel or die. He pulled the headphones off and looked up at the sky. Through the snow clouds, he could see tiny dark shapes falling, glowing faintly as they entered the atmosphere. He did not know if they were bombs or machines. But he knew one thing: humanity had only moments. And yet, in those moments, something stirred. In deep bunkers under the oceans, in secret labs under the deserts, in old silos no one had spoken of in decades, machines began to wake. Old codes unlocked. Lights turned green. Humans had always feared the stars. But they had also prepared. Not together. Not openly, but in their own ways. The Black Spear had thought Earth would kneel. It had not counted on what humans do when they are told to bow. Rayhan's console flickered. A new signal appeared. Not alien. Not hidden. Human. All channels open. It was a single line of text sent across every radio, every network, every screen on Earth. We do not kneel. The falling objects slowed, as if they had met resistance. Over the Arctic Circle, a hidden satellite unfolded like a flower and sent out a beam of white light. Over the Pacific, submarines rose, their hatches opening. In the deserts of Asia, long-sealed hangars cracked and old weapons rolled out into the sunlight. Humanity had been divided for so long. But now, under the shadow of the Black Spear, it was moving. Rayhan's heart pounded. He did not know if Earth could win. He did not know who the hidden voice belonged to, or if it was still alive. But he knew one thing as he looked at the falling black snow. The fight had begun. And somewhere, far away in the dark between stars, someone, or something, heard Earth's answer and smiled. The black snow reached Earth. It did not explode. It opened. From each dark fragment, a machine unfolded. They were small, no bigger than a car, but their bodies shimmered like liquid glass. Thin legs touched the ground without sound. Eyes, or what looked like eyes, glowed faint blue. They moved fast, scanning, tasting the air, cutting through walls. Some went underground. Some crawled on rooftops. Others simply stood, sending silent pulses back to the Black Spear above. Cities froze. People stared through windows, afraid to breathe. The machines did not attack at first. They only looked. But their presence felt like a knife at every throat. On the Unity platform, alarms screamed. Generals and scientists stared at the feeds. The black snow was not bombs. It was an invasion of scouts. Each one was mapping, marking, finding weak points. "They're seeding the planet," one scientist whispered. "They're preparing for something bigger." Below, in a desert hangar long forgotten by the public, old engines roared alive. Rust flaked from the walls. Massive doors rolled open, revealing shapes under tarps. Sleek aircraft with no markings. Silent drones. Rail weapons never tested in war. They had been built in secret programs, in rival nations, but all had been given one shared code: activate if Earth faces extinction. Now that code had been triggered. Rayhan sat at his frozen console in the Canadian Post. The hidden voice had not returned. But new signals filled his screen, Earth signals. They were everywhere now, flowing like veins through the network. Orders. Plans. Warnings. For the first time in years, the governments were sharing everything. Through his window, he saw one of the alien machines move across the snow. It was fast but graceful, almost beautiful. Its legs left no tracks. Its blue glow reflected off the ice. Rayhan held his breath as it paused, head, or whatever it had, in his direction. He could feel it scanning him, like cold fingers inside his mind. Before it could act, a streak of light tore the night. Something, some human weapon, hit the machine. It shattered in silence, fragments vanishing into mist. Where it had stood, only a burn mark remained. Rayhan stumbled back from the window. Somewhere nearby, hidden defenses were awake. On the other side of the world, in the Pacific, submarines surfaced one after another. Their decks bristled with new towers, satellite link weapons built in secret. They launched beams of white light into the sky, not at the Black Spear but at the invisible network the black snow was weaving. The beams cut the alien signals, burned their threads, disrupted their maps. Above the deserts, jets with no pilots rose like arrows. Their engines made no sound, but they moved faster than any fighter before. They flew straight into the clouds of black machines, spinning and firing pulses of their own. The sky became a silent storm. The Black Spear reacted. Its surface rippled, then hardened. A deep vibration rolled across the world, low and sickening. Every alien machine froze for a heartbeat, then all at once they turned their glowing eyes upward. Blue became red. They started to attack. In New York, a machine unfolded claws and cut through a tower's side. In Lagos, another emitted a scream that shattered glass and metal. In Shanghai, 3 merged into a single shape and began to dig, fast as a drill. Everywhere, chaos erupted. But Earth had changed. Citizens who once ran now watched soldiers deploy weapons no one had ever seen. A railgun fired from a mountaintop and ripped an alien machine apart mid-air. A hidden laser array over Europe lit the sky like lightning, slicing incoming drones before they could merge. People took out their phones, streaming, shouting. They had been told to kneel. Instead, they were watching their species fight back. On Unity, the generals spoke over one another. Some wanted to aim everything at the Black Spear. Others said to finish the scouts first. But deep inside the platform's core, a decision had already been made, not by any one person but by an old algorithm designed for survival. A countdown began. In 20 minutes, a weapon that had never been tested would fire. Rayhan's console flickered again. Against the noise of war, a faint pulse returned. Weak, but there. The hidden voice. He leaned close. "I hear you," he whispered. "Tell me where you are." The reply came slowly, one word at a time. "Inside." Rayhan's blood ran cold. Inside what? Inside Earth. Inside the Black Spear? The signal was too weak to say more. But then, another message appeared. "Strike now. There is a chance." He sent the text up to Unity. The platform's weapon countdown reached 15 minutes. Rayhan looked out the window at the burning snowfield. Another alien machine was approaching, red eyes glowing. It had learned. It was coming for him. Somewhere under the oceans, the great weapon prepared to fire. Above the Earth, the Black Spear shifted again, as if sensing the coming blow. Humans and aliens were locked in a moment of pure tension. One shot could change everything. Rayhan grabbed his radio. "Do it," he whispered into the static. "Do it now before it's too late." And far away, a key turned. The countdown reached 0. From deep under the Pacific, a flash of light rose like a spear of its own. It was not a missile and not a laser. It was something built in silence over decades, a weapon so secret most leaders had only rumors of it. The water boiled as it climbed. The clouds above ripped apart. And then it struck the Black Spear. For the first time since it had arrived, the alien ship reacted with pain. Its surface shimmered, lost its perfect shape. Waves of dark matter rippled outward. People on the ground felt it in their teeth, like a sudden drop in pressure. The red glow in the alien machines flickered. Some froze. Some screamed. Some simply collapsed into dust. On Unity, the generals stood frozen. No one cheered. They watched the Black Spear twist in the sky, like a living thing wounded but not dead. Again. One of them whispered. "Hit it again." But the weapon below was already cooling. It could not fire twice so soon. In the snow of northern Canada, Rayhan saw the alien machine near him hesitate. Its red glow dimmed. It tilted its head to the sky, as if listening. For a heartbeat, it was harmless. He grabbed his portable transmitter and began sending the same pulse he had before, over and over, hoping the hidden voice would hear him. The Black Spear's skin opened. Not doors, not hatches, but deep cracks like a splitting seed. A black mist poured out, curling toward Earth. The alien ship was not only wounded, it was changing. Inside those cracks, something glimmered, shapes, lights, maybe cells of another kind of life. Rayhan's screen filled with noise. Then, through the chaos, the hidden voice broke through, clearer than before. "We are here," it said. "Inside. Strike the core." Rayhan typed with shaking fingers. "Who are you?" he asked. "What core?" But the answer was strange, more like a feeling than words. Sorrow, rage, and hope at once. High above, a small craft separated from Unity. It was unmanned, built for one purpose, to map what no one could see. It dove straight toward the Black Spear, sensors open, relaying every signal back. The feed came alive on Unity's main screen. For the first time, humans were seeing inside the alien ship. It was not a ship in the way humans built ships. It was more like a hive. Vast dark chambers lined with pulsing veins of light. In the center, a sphere of white energy beating like a heart. Around it floated small shapes, some machines, some perhaps once living beings, their outlines blurred. And deeper still, behind the light, the sensors caught glimpses of cages. Rayhan stared. He felt dizzy. The hidden voice was not lying. There were prisoners inside. Not human, but not alien like the machines either. Something in between. Survivors of worlds already taken. And their signals were merging with his, using his transmitter as a path out. Unity's operators scrambled. The core, the beating sphere, was the key. If it could be destroyed, the black spear might fall. But any strike powerful enough might also kill whatever was imprisoned there. They had minutes to choose. On Earth, the alien machines recovered. Their red eyes reignited. They moved faster, angrier. In the snow, the one near Rayhan lunged. He dove aside as claws ripped through his console. Sparks flew. He grabbed the emergency beacon, clutching it like a lifeline. "Tell me how," he shouted into the static. "Tell me how to strike the core without killing you." For a moment there was only noise. Then the hidden voice answered, calm despite everything. "Open the path. We will do the rest." A new set of coordinates appeared on his ruined screen, somewhere in the Arctic ice. Not a base, but a point in the empty ocean. He sent them up to Unity. The unmanned craft inside the black spear lit up its engines and turned toward the cracks, trying to send the coordinates back out. On Unity, technicians worked like lightning. They redirected old satellites, built a bridge of frequencies, opened a corridor of data. A small green light appeared on the main screen. Path open. In the black spear's hive, something shifted. The prisoners, or whatever they were, glowed brighter. Threads of light stretched from their cages toward the core. The unmanned craft recorded everything, streaming the images to Earth. The generals saw it and felt a shiver. This was not only war. This was a jailbreak. Rayhan crawled out into the snow, the alien machine still hunting him. In the sky above, the black spear trembled. Its heart pulsed harder. The mist around it began to glow. Something was coming. "Do it now," he whispered to no one and everyone. "Whatever you're going to do, do it." Inside the black spear, the threads of light reached the core. A soundless shock rolled outward. The alien machines on Earth screamed and fell still, as if cut from their strings. The red glow died. For a heartbeat, the world was quiet. Then the core flared white. The feed from the unmanned craft turned to blinding light. Unity's screens went blank. On the ground, people shaded their eyes as the black spear above burned like a new star. No one knew if it was dying, changing, or being reborn. Rayhan clutched his beacon. The snow around him glowed. He felt a presence, warm and vast, brush against his mind. "Run!" And then the sky broke. The white flare swallowed everything. Inside the black spear there was no up, no down, only light and shadows. The hive walls dissolved like smoke. The pulsing veins broke and drifted away. The core swelled, cracked, and poured out streams of living light. Where there had been cages, there were now shapes, thousands of them, floating free. They were not machines. They were beings. Tall and thin, with skin like glass and eyes like stars. Some had wings of energy, some only faint outlines. All of them looked stunned, as if waking from a long nightmare. They did not speak, but their thoughts moved like ripples. Freedom. Escape. Home. A few turned toward the unmanned human craft still inside, recognizing it as the thing that had opened the path. Threads of light touched its hull. Data poured out, faster than any signal. They were telling Earth what they knew. Maps, weaknesses, secrets of the Black Spear. But the ship was not dead yet. The core's outer shell twisted like a wounded animal. From the cracks, dark matter poured in reverse, trying to drag the freed beings back. New structures formed, claws of black crystal reaching for the escapees. One of the freed beings shot forward, a flare of gold. It struck the claws, shattering them. Another followed, then another, until a storm of living light pushed back the darkness. The hive began to collapse. The unmanned craft tumbled, catching glimpses of impossible rooms, forests of metal, oceans of liquid night, spires like teeth, before its cameras burned out. Above Earth, people stared at the sky. The black spear was no longer a spear. It bulged, cracked, and bled white light. Whole chunks fell off and dissolved before hitting the atmosphere. The alien machines on the ground lay dead, their bodies turning to ash, but no one moved to touch them. Everyone felt the pressure in the air, a sense that something vast was passing over them. On Unity, technicians fought to keep the feed alive. Fragments of images came through, star-eyed beings forming a circle around the collapsing core, waves of data spilling toward Earth's networks, the unmanned craft spinning, then gone. Then the screen went black. All channels silent. Rayhan knelt in the snow outside his ruined post, staring upward. The sky above was filled with falling sparks of white and black. Some drifted like snowflakes, some like meteors. The alien machine that had hunted him was gone, nothing but a melted shadow. His beacon pulsed weakly in his hand. He could still feel the hidden voice, but now it was many voices, layered, strange. "We are free," they whispered inside his head. "But not safe. The core fights." He tried to speak, but no sound came. The presence inside him was too strong. Images flashed behind his eyes, 1,000 worlds burned, cities under alien skies, ships fleeing, the long captivity inside the Black Spear. And then a plan, a point far above Earth, a hidden wound in the ship's heart where a strike could finish it. On Unity, the generals argued. Some wanted to fire the ocean weapon again. Others feared it would destroy the freed beings as well. Data from the Black Spear streamed in, a flood of alien code mixed with human frequencies. No one could decode it fast enough. Every second, the ship's shape shifted, new claws forming, new tendrils reaching for Earth. The freed beings fought, but they were fading. They had been prisoners too long. Their strength was not endless. Rayhan staggered to his feet. He could feel their fear. They needed a guide, a signal, a focus. He raised his beacon high and sent the coordinates the presence had burned into his mind up to Unity. "Hit this," he whispered into the cold. "Hit this one place. Now." In orbit, an old weapon, never fired, forgotten even by its creators, was waking. It hung above Earth like a dead star, its panels unfolding, its core charging. It had only one shot. The generals stared at the coordinates Rayhan had sent. The point was not inside the ship but just behind it, a small tear in the dark, a hole in reality the core was drawing power from. If that was cut, the ship might die. On the ground, people raised their eyes to the sky. The Black Spear's glow turned crimson. A sound like 1,000 drums rolled over continents. The freed beings rose higher inside the collapsing hive, shielding the hole. They were waiting for the strike. Rayhan's beacon flickered, almost dead. He whispered again to whoever was listening, "Please, do it." And far above, the old weapon fired. A single beam, thin as a thread but bright as a star, lanced upward through the clouds. It passed the edge of the atmosphere, struck the hidden tier, and vanished. For a heartbeat nothing happened. Then the Black Spear screamed. It did not explode. It folded. Its edges curled inward, its light imploding, sucking itself into the wound. The freed beings flashed like comets, breaking free just as the ship collapsed on itself. A second later, the sky was empty. No ship. No core. Only silence and drifting sparks like new stars. Rayhan fell to his knees, shaking. The presence faded from his mind, leaving a single echo, "We are not done." Above him, high in the dark, something unseen stirred. For a few hours, Earth believed it had won. The black spear was gone. Its machines lay as ash. The sky was clear. People filled the streets of cities, hugging, crying, filming the strange snow of white sparks drifting down like harmless stars. Governments sent messages of unity. News anchors spoke of a new dawn. For the first time in living memory, the whole planet felt like one. But far above, in the dark where the ship had been, a shadow moved. It was not big. It had no shape. It was absence itself, a hole cut into reality, left behind when the black spear collapsed. Around its edges, light bent. Stars flickered and went dim. No human telescope caught it at first. But the freed beings, still high in orbit, felt it immediately. They had no mouths, but their minds screamed. It wakes. On Unity, technicians saw strange readings. Gravity spikes. Magnetic fields twisting. A region of space above Earth where no signal returned. Residual effect, one muttered. Just the collapse. But then the whole pulsed, once, twice, like a slow heartbeat. Screens flickered. The freed beings began to move, not toward Earth but toward the hole, forming a glowing ring around it. Rayhan sat inside a transport plane heading south, away from his ruined listening post. He stared out the small window. White sparks fell past the wings. The pilot's voice came over the intercom, shaky but excited. They're calling this the victory flight. We're taking you to meet them, the beings you helped free. Rayhan said nothing. In his head he still felt their echo. Not words, but warning. The presence that had guided him before was weak now, but it pressed a single feeling into his mind: danger. On Unity, a general asked the question no one wanted to hear. What if the spear was only the cage? What if what it held inside is still out there? No one answered. In the orbit above, the freed beings pulsed brighter, trying to hold the edges of the hole with their light. But the hole grew. It was no longer a wound. It was an opening. Beyond it was not space as humans knew it, but a depth of pure blackness, flecked with faint blue sparks. Something moved inside, slow, patient, massive. Rayhan's plane landed at a coastal base. Soldiers and scientists rushed him inside a large hangar where bright lights glared off polished floors. In the center stood a translucent figure, tall and thin, eyes like tiny galaxies. One of the freed beings. It shimmered weakly, its outline fraying. It had come down to speak. Rayhan stepped closer. The being's voice was not sound, but a vibration in his skull. The spear was their hand, it said. But the hand was only a finger. The thing beyond is waking. He swallowed hard. Can it be stopped? The being flickered. We do not know. We escaped, but it still holds power. It will reach for you. It always reaches for the free. At that moment alarms screamed across the base. Screens lit up with emergency feeds. In the sky above the Arctic, the hole had widened. A column of dark vapor reached out, curling like a claw. Where it touched the upper atmosphere, clouds froze solid. Satellites went dark one by one. The freed beings around the hole wavered, their light dimming. On Unity, technicians scrambled. The old ocean weapon was recharging, but slowly. Too slowly. Missiles launched from hidden platforms, but when they reached the edge of the hole they simply vanished, swallowed by nothing. The generals shouted, but no command mattered. The thing behind the spear was coming. Rayhan looked at the being in front of him. Tell me what to do, he said. I opened the path before. Tell me how to stop this. The being's eyes flared. We will open another path. But this one leads inside. Not a strike, but a passage. Someone must go. Rayhan's heart hammered. Inside that, he whispered, picturing the hole in the sky, the blackness beyond. It'll kill me. The being's light softened, almost like pity. It may. Or it may let you end it. You carry our signal. It listens to you. That is why it has not yet struck the planet. It waits. It wonders. Rayhan stepped back. You want me to go into it? Yes. Outside, thunder rolled though the sky was clear. The hole pulsed again, faster now, as if a giant heartbeat echoed above the world. Winds rose where there had been none. Birds scattered. Power grids flickered across continents. Humanity's brief victory was already slipping away. In the hangar, Rayhan stared at the being, then at the soldiers and scientists around him. Some looked at him with hope, others with fear. He thought of the frozen night in Canada, the first message, the words burned into every screen. We do not kneel. He straightened. Then I'll go. The being raised a hand of light. Threads of energy coiled around him, warm but heavy. We will guide you, it said. But once inside, you will be alone. Above the planet, the hole opened wider, a black flower blooming in the sky. The freed beings broke formation, diving toward it to hold it open just long enough. Inside, something vast shifted like an eye-opening. Rayhan closed his eyes. He felt the energy wrap tighter, lifting him off the floor. The air shimmered. People shouted. The hangar lights bent. In the next heartbeat, he was gone. The being of light flickered once and whispered to the empty air. We have sent our only chance. And high above, the darkness swallowed him whole. Rayhan fell without falling. The world of air and gravity vanished. The black flower in the sky swallowed him, and suddenly there was no sky, no sound, no body. Only darkness, thick and slow like tar. He tried to breathe but there was no air. He tried to move but there was no up or down. Yet he was still there, a point of thought floating in the void. Threads of faint light stretched around him. At first he thought they were stars. Then he saw they were chains, chains of energy holding vast shapes deeper in the black. Shapes so huge his mind slid off them. Wings wider than continents, spines like mountains, eyes hidden but watching. Every time one moved, the darkness pulsed like a heartbeat. The presence of the freed beings flickered at the edge of his thoughts, guiding him, but it was weak now, thin as a whisper. Follow the pulse, it said. It leads to the mind. He reached out, not with hands but with will, and drifted toward the pulse. It was slow and heavy, like a drum underwater. With each beat the chains trembled, as if the thing they held was dreaming. Far away, outside the hole, the freed beings formed a ring of light, trying to hold the opening steady. Their bodies glowed, dimmed, flared again. On Earth, scientists in underground rooms watched power grids flicker as the sky above bent and warped. Missiles fired and vanished. The hole was growing unstable. If it closed, Rayhan would never return. Inside the void, Rayhan saw something ahead, a single point of white, glowing faintly in the endless black. It looked small, but every instinct told him it was enormous. He drifted closer. As he did, shapes formed around it, not chains, but memories. Cities burning. Oceans drained. Stars fading. Worlds kneeling. All the places the thing had taken before. The point of white was an eye. It opened. There was no sound, but the shock of it knocked him backward. In the eye was no pupil, no iris, only a hole deeper than the void itself. And from that hole came a thought, vast and cold. Who calls me? Rayhan forced his mind to stay steady. I do, he said, though his lips did not move. You threatened my world. You took theirs. I came. The thought moved again, brushing against him like a glacier. One tiny mind. One spark. You cannot stop what you do not understand. He felt himself shrinking, dissolving. But deep inside, a second pulse rose, not from the being but from himself. The signal he had carried since the first night in Canada. The signal the freed beings had used to speak. It burned in him now like a small sun. I'm not here to fight you, he said. I'm here to open a door. The eye narrowed. A door to where? To freedom, he thought, and pushed the signal outward. Light shot from him, threads of gold weaving into the chains that held the giant shapes. The void trembled. One chain cracked. A ripple of white rolled outward. The huge shapes stirred, shifting toward him. They were not part of the monster, they were its prisoners, even older than the freed beings. And they were waking. Outside, on Earth, the hole pulsed violently. The ring of freed beings flared as they poured their power into keeping it open. Lightning crawled across the upper atmosphere, though no storm was there. In command rooms, people watched as the hole's edge glowed white instead of black. "He's doing something," someone whispered. "It's changing." Inside, the eye flared with anger. "You cannot break the chains. They are me." Rayhan's light dimmed. The void pressed down, heavy as stone. But another presence rose beside him, faint, many voices at once, the freed beings speaking through him. "We are with you." He reached deeper into himself, into the pulse, and saw not only their memories but humanity's. The faces of people standing under alien machines and refusing to kneel, the hidden weapons rising from the oceans, the message sent to every screen, "We do not kneel." That was the spark he carried. That was what the thing could not understand. He pushed again. The chains glowed, cracked, and shattered. Light spilled out, flooding the void. The giant shapes spread wings of fire and turned on the eye. For the first time, the pulse faltered. The heartbeat stopped. Outside, the hole above Earth flared white. The freed beings screamed without sound, their bodies turning to pure light as they fed everything they had into the breach. Scientists and soldiers watched as the black flower folded inward, its center blazing. Inside, the eye opened wide, not in power but in fear. "What are you?" Rayhan hovered in the growing light, every nerve of his mind burning. "Human," he said. "Free." The eye shattered. Darkness peeled away. The void became a storm of color. The huge shapes, once prisoners, streamed past him like comets, heading toward the edge, toward freedom. One brushed against him as it passed, and a thought touched his own: gratitude. Then everything collapsed. The light, the chains, the eye. All gone. Only a rush, like falling. Outside, the hole in the sky shrank, pulsed once more, then became a single point of white. The freed beings around it winked out, spent. In the hangars and command rooms of Earth, alarms went silent. High above, that single point glimmered, and something small fell out of it, tumbling toward the atmosphere like a falling star. The falling star slowed before it hit the sea. It was not fire but a small sphere of light, pulsing weakly, wrapped around a human shape. Ships and planes tracked it as it came down. Soldiers and scientists waited on a remote coastline, eyes on the dark water. When the sphere touched the waves it dissolved, and Rayhan floated up, half-conscious, eyes open but unfocused. Hands pulled him onto the deck of a waiting ship. He was alive. The freed being that had first spoken to him appeared beside him, a thin figure of fading light. Its outline flickered like a candle. "You broke the chains," it said inside his head. "The thing beyond has been sealed away. For now." Rayhan coughed, voice hoarse. "For now." The being looked at the horizon. "It sleeps again, but the wound is not closed forever. We are few, scattered. You gave us freedom, but freedom wakes attention." Its light dimmed further. "We will go before it notices." He tried to sit up. "Where will you go?" "Far," the being whispered. "Where it cannot reach us yet." It placed a hand of light on his chest. "But you have become a signal. I don't understand." "You will." The being's form unraveled into sparks, joining a stream of other faint lights rising into the night sky. One by one the freed beings left, streaks of silver and gold climbing until they vanished like shooting stars. Only the sea and the wind remained. On Earth, the ash of the alien machines blew away. Cities repaired power grids. News screens called it Victory Day. People cheered, planted flags, and spoke of a united planet. Children pointed at the sky, telling each other they saw angels. No one could see the black scar above the atmosphere, the thin invisible line where space had bent. Rayhan lay in a hospital bed days later, looking out at the ocean. Cameras waited outside the room, but he did not give interviews. At night he woke sweating, hearing the heartbeat of the void. Doctors said it was trauma. He said nothing. World leaders met on Unity, making promises of cooperation. Hidden weapons were moved back into silos. Treaties were drafted. Yet in underground labs, scientists studied fragments of alien ash, whispering about new engines, new signals, new doors. Humanity had seen what lived beyond the stars. It had fought it, and won at least once. That knowledge burned hotter than fear. One evening, as Rayhan sat alone watching the sunset, his old beacon on the table flickered. It had been dead since the day of the battle. Now a single word appeared on its tiny screen. Listen. He picked it up. Who's there? He whispered. No answer came. Only a sound, faint and deep, like a drum underwater. The same sound he had felt in the void. But it was different now. It was far away, not a threat, but a search. A question. He looked at the sky. It was clear and golden. Children were playing on the beach below. Yet he felt the weight of unseen eyes beyond the stars. The beacon flickered again. 3 symbols appeared, no language he knew, but he understood them anyway. We have seen you. The screen went dark. He set the beacon down, heart beating hard. He thought of the first message months ago, kneel or burn. He thought of the black spear, the freed beings, the chains breaking. Humanity had been forced to stand. Now something else knew they could. Behind the horizon, high above, telescopes caught a faint shift in the scar where the hole had been. Not a ship, not a weapon, just a ripple, as if the fabric of space had moved slightly, like water touched by a finger. Rayhan closed his eyes. He could still feel the pulse in his veins, the signal that had saved them. He whispered the words that had started everything, the words sent across every screen on Earth. We do not kneel. Somewhere far beyond the stars, in a place without light, an ancient mind paused. It had heard a small voice inside its sleep. A world had answered back. It smiled, though it had no face, and began to dream new dreams.